This is Nadine with Happy Eating Healthy. Today I'm going to share with you crockpot lamb chops. Now, lamb chops are a little high in calories, higher in calories than others. So if you have lamb chops, you're going to want to have a side dish that is a little bit lower in calorie. One serving of the lamb chops is 278 calories. That's quite a bit for me because it does have a bit of fat in it. But this recipe is oh so good, you're going to love it. So let me show you what we need to do. I have my rack of lamb and I want to cut these into chops. I'm going to take my butcher knife and I can see that the bone is this way. So I'm just going to cut down the middle to get my chops. The 278 calories is actually going to be 2 of these. So this right here would be the 278 calories. We are going to get 4 servings from this. Now you notice that one is a little bit bigger, so if you have that one, it might end up being a little bit more than that 278 calories. But I just try to cut in between the bone. And one more. Let's look at this side. I really try to get that right there. Okay. So there we have our 8 lamb chops. The next thing we need to do, I'm going to put that aside, we're going to put all the seasoning together. So right here I have some curry powder, some chili powder, some ground cinnamon, and cayenne pepper, and some sea salt. And I'm just going to take all these and dump them into a bowl. So I'm going to pick one of my bigger bowls to dump them all into. And then with a spoon, I just want to mix these up so that they're well blended. Because I don't want one bite to have more of one seasoning and another bite to have more of another. So I'm just mixing all of my seasonings together. Now I'm going to be making a glaze for my lamb chops. And the glaze is actually going to be put on after it's cooked. But for the glaze, I've got this honey, and I use raw honey. This is 2 tablespoons of raw honey. And to that, I want to add 1.5 tablespoons of my spice. Just gonna put that in there, dump that into the honey. Then I'm gonna stir it in. And then this glaze that I want to put on after it's cooked, I'm just going to cover it with saran wrap and let it sit until I've cooked the lamb chops. And then I'll just use a pastry brush and brush it on. So I'm ready to set that aside. And now what I want to do with the rest of this is it's a dry rub for my lamb chops. So I'm just going to take a little bit in my fingers and I'm going to rub it into the lamb chop. And I want to make sure I have enough for all of it. So to begin with, I'm just going to kind of do the 2 sides. And then if I see I have plenty of rub after that, which I usually do, then I can do this other part. But I want to make sure that the meaty part especially gets this rub. And you do want to rub it in there into the meat. This one really is quite a bit bigger than the others. It's like it looks like they actually have an extra bone there. So I could actually, probably should cut that in half. Doesn't have the bone sticking out, but the bone is there. And that would explain why this one is twice as fat, because it really is 2 chops. It's just that the one does not have the whole bone sticking out. It's been broken off. Okay, that looks a lot more like the other chops. That's good. So use the rub. So now I've got a little bit of rub left, so I'm just going to kind of come and put some on the outer part of them as far as it'll go. And they're all going to be cooked in the same pan and touching each other. So if I end up not having enough to do all of the outer parts, it'll kind of absorb it, and I can just kind of maybe make sure I get more of the liquid glaze on it in the end if I end up not having enough. So anyway, and I'm going to try to get some more of this off of the breadboard that fell on the breadboard by pushing it in. And so now I have my lamb chops ready. I'm ready now to put it into the crock pot. So here's my crock pot, and I do want to put just 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the bottom of this, and this is going to help make it so that this stuff doesn't stick and burn to the bottom. But the juices are going to come out and help also. And then I'm just going to lay my lamb chops into this, and I want to get it as close to single layer as possible. And that may be hard to do. I may not be able to totally get it that way. But I want, where possible, to make it so that the meaty part is not on top of each other. So like I'm laying that across the bones. And I can lay this across the bones. That way the meaty part is all separated by itself. Now all I'm going to do, I'm going to put the lid on it. And I'm going to set this to cook on low for 4 to 6 hours. I usually do the 6 hours. After it has cooked for 6 hours, my crock pot has a timer setting, so then it flips to warm so that it stays warm. Because obviously I work at my job more than 6 hours, and I'm going to start this just as I'm leaving, and then it'll be ready when I come home. So I'll come back and show you how to put the glaze on after it is done cooking in about 6 hours. All right, our lamb chops are all done cooking. We're just going to carefully take our lamb chops out of the crock pot. Oh, we lost the meat on that one. Let me grab that meat. See how tender this is after cooking in the crock pot? That's why we want to carefully take it out. And then remember, we're going to want to put that glaze that we made on this. All right. There's our lamb chops, all out, and I've got them single layer so that I can put this glaze on it. So all I do is I put it in a bag so that it would stay good and nothing would get in it. So I'm just going to take this glaze and I'm going to put it, you know, I am going to first put this in the microwave and just make it more liquidy. I put that in the microwave for just about 10-15 seconds to make the honey become more of a liquid instead of so solid. And now I can just put my glaze onto my lamb chops. And after I get it all on this side, I want to just carefully turn them over, if I can, and put that same glaze on the other side. And I'm looking at my glaze, and I may not be able to totally glaze all of them, so I'm going to start with the ones that have the least amount on, and then go to the other ones. But I might have enough, so I'm just going to glaze. Well, both sides glazed. Notice I'm getting really low on the glaze, but there still seems to be just enough for me to get all of these done. Now this rack of lamb actually had one more lamb chop than the recipe calls for, because usually you only want 8, and this one actually had 9, because it had that one that had the broken bone. Here is our lamb chops all ready to be served also. Remember, 1 serving is 2 lamb chops. For having 2 lamb chops, you're going to get 278 calories. So that's quite a few calories, but this is meat. But having a side with it, you want to make sure the side is probably under 100 calories, vegetable inside. So here is our lamb chops that have been cooked in the crock pot. It's a Moroccan recipe. Try some today. You will just love it. This is such a good recipe if you like lamb. This is Nadine with Happy Eating Healthy. Enjoy.